Hi, I'm Emily Laidlaw of Your Tutoring Solutions. Today I want to talk about spelling, and people ask, what's the spelling rule for this sound? And often there's not a rule, but we might look for patterns. The best thing about spelling when you have many ways to spell a particular phoneme is to notice what's most common and to notice if there's any rules, like we use this in this position and this in this other position. So one of the difficult ones, which came up recently, was the final s sound. So the sound of s at the end of a word. We have so many ways. By and large, if it's a short vowel word and the s comes right after the short vowel, we use two s's. Right? We often double F, L, and S after a single short vowel. So we use two S's. So short vowels, that's taken care of. We use two S's except for bus, yes, and there's one other that are shortened forms of another word. Like yes is a function word and a very common function word, and bus is short for autobus, and gas is short for gasoline. Other than those, if it's a short vowel word, we use two S's. But what if it's not a short vowel word? What do we use then? So what I like to do is pop all the words and look for patterns. And let me show you what I have here. There we go. So I put all the words in and I started just moving them around and figuring out what are the patterns. So as I started playing around with the words, I looked at long vowel words with the SE or the CE. And oh my goodness, there's so many more for the CE. This is way more common. So if you have a long vowel, we are mostly going to use a CE. And then the SE is not very common. Chase, case, erase, base. Yeah, and then we have the long vowel with the E sound, have the S. Grease, geese, lease. And then we have vowel diphthongs, and here we have, these are common. Mouse, house, those are pretty common words, right? Goose and loose, and then geese goes with goose, right? So those have the SE. Those are mostly Germanic origin, and it was originally spelled with a S, so it's S now that it's here in English. And then with the CE, oh, this one goes in this column. Not too many. Voice, juice, peace, deuce. Here's the only one with the E, long E with the C, E, peace. Okay. So we just notice the patterns that long vowel, the CE is more common. These diphthongs, it's pretty even. The common words are SE, mouse, house, and goose, loose, and geese. Those are pretty common words. Those are SE. These kids don't often get to until later. Now, following a consonant, we have some with the N, and for some reason, this is the hardest one for my students. They're like, is it CE or SE? This is the one that trips them up the most. So I happen to have a visual for that. So following consonants, we have a few with the SE, and we have of the N in front of this sound, it's predominantly a CE. Okay, so all of these down here are an N followed by the S sound. And for these, we use the CE. And just these three here have the N followed by the SE. And then we have the R-controlleds. We have more of the common words with the SE than the CE. These are not quite as common as horse and nurse and purse and worse that they tend to see in first grade. So this is more common. So I would show patterns, and after that I might print off something like this as a reference. But basically what we want is we want our students to develop those good, strong mental orthographic images where they just say, oh, this is what looks right. Where they've read it enough times that they start to say it looks right. I don't ask my students to memorize, well, after an N, do this, or after a OO, do this. We tend to, we might do a sort and look at the patterns and notice that this is more common. After that, we want to encourage a lot of reading so they develop what looks right, and we notice it. Oh, we're using the SE here, or oh, we're using the CE here as we're reading and we come across the sound. And if they get a spelling test, you're tutoring and you've got a student that has a spelling test and they have to know the spelling for these particular words, I do images. I do images. For instance, because I had a student that had to learn these SEs, and I'd say, okay, if it's not one of these three words, spell it with a CE. And so I gave him an image. I rinse when I feel tense and lose sense. So these are the three words that you're going to use in SE and say, okay, it's like, oh, I have to wash my face. I've been crying. I'm so tense. I had that spelling test. And so I rinse when I feel tense and lose sense. Those are the only three words. And then if it's not that, use the CE. So I make it kind of a sentence and a little image for a student if they have to learn how to spell those particular words for a spelling test. Other than that, we want to encourage lots and lots of reading. Okay, I hope that's helpful. Thanks. Thank you for watching, and I hope that was helpful. If you need any further help, please visit me at emilylaidlawtutor.com or on my YouTube channel, Emily Laidlaw. Thank you.